Okay, so Canon just dropped the new R5C, and this is the cinema version of the EOS R5, which is more targeted to a hybrid audience. So let's start off with the obvious, the price. The price is 4,500 quid in the UK, and the R5 is at 4,200. So there seems to be a 300 quid difference between the R5 and the R5C. Now, what do you get for 300 quid more? So for 300 quid more, you're getting exactly the same 45 megapixel sensor that's in the R5, and the R5C shoots up to 8K 60 frames per second in RAW. But bear in mind, to shoot up to 60 frames per second, you need an external power source. So if you were to treat both these cameras as if you would straight out of the box, they could both only shoot 8K RAW 30 frames internally, the same 12-bit. Now the R5C also has image stabilization, but it's electronic image stabilization. So it's not IBIS like the R5 gets, it crops in by 1.1 to give you electronic stabilization. Now it does work with the lens as well, but it's still cropping in by 1.1. I personally would have liked to have seen IBIS in the R5C, considering that you could just turn it off. Now they're saying that IBIS isn't really towards the targeted audience with cinema cameras, but the old saying is, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Now, one thing that this camera does right that the R5 isn't quite getting right is that this one has a fan built into it so that it doesn't overheat. But personally, in my experience, I've never had the R5 overheat, but I realise that I am not the only photographer / filmmaker in the world, and that might actually be a game changer for people. Now, another thing that this has over the R5 is that the R5C has an electronic hot shoe mount, same as what Sony did with the FX3, so you can actually power things through that. So you can have XLR inputs and a microphone up top going through the hot shoe. And another thing that the R5C has is that it has Canon's full cinema menu system, so you can access the full cinema system. I've not personally used it, but you can use the full cinema system that's from the C300, C500 on the R5C. Now, all of that combined for 300 quid more than an R5 that shoots exactly the same. It takes CF Express and an SD card, and so does the R5C that takes a CF Express and an SD card. They're exactly the same camera, but I feel like the R5 is outweighing the R5C. The R5C just has that cold shoe and a fan going for it, in my opinion. I've not really had the chance to take a look at some of the footage myself, so the footage could be completely different, but I can't see that being the case with it having exactly the same sensor as the R5. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what we get when it comes into people's hands. So as it stands at the minute, my final verdict, having weighed up the options between the R5 and the R5C, the R5 looks like the better camera to go with. It overheats when you shoot for long periods. Personally, I think the better option to go with if you're going to get a cinema camera would be the C70. And if you just bought an R3, then you don't even need to worry about whether or not you made the wrong choice. Personally, stick with the R3, don't even look at the R5C. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think the R5C is useless? Do you think the R5 is now being replaced? I don't know. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff you already love to do. I will see you in the next one. Silly.